So, good morning. Good morning. I'm so glad to be here this morning to be with Luz. And thank you for all of you who are joining us live here on Zoom and for those who are going to be watching us on the repeat. And I wanted to have this conversation with Luz. We've talked about it before, but I wanted to have a deeper conversation on the subject of spirituality. And so, Luz, I'm going to let you introduce yourself a little bit, share a little bit about yourself, and then tell me what spirituality means to you.
Okay, and be sure to let me know if I'm rambling or going on and on because I've already had this conversation with you like three times in my head since yesterday. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm really glad I joined TikTok like 3, 4 years ago, and I saw Debbie, Juliana, and Sarah and everybody, and something just clicked for me. So this is something that started sort of clicking for me since I was 15. So when I was 15, um, I was searching for something more, something deeper. I was in a period in my teenage years going through some family stuff that led me to search for something. I didn't know what it was back then. I was like, I need something more, something greater. I need to fill this void. So my route was to go through church. So I grew up Catholic. So when I was 15 till 35, 36, so just a few years ago when I left the church, that is where I searched. That is where I looked for this greater purpose. And I did find it there for myself, but I was still, even when I joined when I was 15, this moral like compass telling me, okay, the church is wrong. So in my head, okay, in the back of my head, I was like, I'm not morally okay with what the church has done, with what the church continues to do. But I know my place is here. So I found my spot in the choir. My ministry was music. So that I was there for 20 years doing the thing, right? Going to mass, playing at church, playing at concerts, doing my thing because for me, I knew within me that I was to heal people's souls through music. So in the church, this was me, but then this void that I was trying to fill through the church was still not being filled because of this moral thing in the back of my head. Like, why does the church keep doing all these, things? So I'm sure I don't need to go into this because the Catholic Church in the past and currently has done some stuff that I am not okay with. And eventually that is why I was really happy to have left. Um, my faith kind of stayed the same because I think I went in for the right reason, right? I found something special there. But now, especially through your help and Juliana and everybody else's on TikTok, the group of people who have been guiding most of us, even on the Facebook group. I I found the connection I was searching for within myself, a connection that was always there, right? I felt it, I knew it, I just didn't know what it was. I didn't know what to call it. I didn't know how to identify it. I didn't know how to connect to this even better. So the way I understand it and see it now, because now I physically see it. Now I feel it a lot more because of, all the meditation and deeper connections within myself. So that I see it, I hear it, I feel it. It's a lot more tangible to me. And I love it. I love this greater feeling of what I thought maybe was like my Catholic faith was this like connection with God and whatnot, but it's different now. It's like it's tangible. So much so the last surgery my husband had before we moved, there was this. None, because this was at a Catholic hospital. My husband chose this hospital because that's the one my mother-in-law went to when she was still with us. There was a nun that went to pray for my husband before surgery. And we were like, yeah, it's fine. And when she started praying, there was this energy. So in my head, it looked like a cone. So I had my eyes closed when she was praying, right? So we had our eyes closed, head down. She started praying. Above her head, there was this like cone of energy coming towards my husband. So I felt it. I felt it. I had my eyes closed. I didn't know what it was. I felt it. So I did like one of these and like looked up to see what I was feeling. And there was this like beam coming from above her, which when I meditate, that's usually the spot I connect to. It was coming from above her towards my husband. This like energy of pure love and strength. So everything she was praying for, that energy. So I'm clairsentient. I feel the emotions through energy. That's what's always been like something I felt since I was little, emotions. So I felt this love and energy and strength coming through whatever this thing was coming at my husband. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, wow, this is like really cool. I didn't want to say anything, but I was like peeking up and looking at this ray coming down at him. So my faith through what I sort of understood has expanded away from the church. But to me, this was like one of the coolest moments to actually physically see this happening because some people can spend a lifetime, being Christian or going to church every single Sunday for their entire life and never feel this or never see this. And for me to have like seen something cool like this, and I've seen a ton of stuff like this, even in the church and outside the church, but to see this while she was praying was just mind blowing to me. So my my spiritual journey has taken, its ups and downs, its roller coaster twists and turns. And even though I've taken a break, like for this past year, I've taken a break to just be with family, to care for my husband, to just spend time together. I thought all of this work I had put in, a couple years ago with you and Juliana and Salome and everybody, I thought all this was going to go away. I thought, okay, I'm not going to feel anymore. I'm not going to see anything anymore. It's going to go away because I'm taking a break. I'm taking a step back to be with my family and I'm not reading daily and I'm not um healing or doing this every single day to keep up my practice or anything. I thought it was all going to go away. I'm like, I'm going to have to start over again and do it again. But no, now it's like on automatic. Like if I need to feel something, I feel it. If I need to sense something, I sense it. It's like automatic. I don't have to turn anything on and off anymore. But when it's important, it kicks in. I see it. I feel it. Um, it's like sometimes I can see through the veil, especially here in Mexico. So I moved to Mexico 4 months ago. I've seen these like little people. This apartment we moved in, my son saw one, the same one I saw. Um, so it's just like my journey has taken a whole other turn and I'm loving it. Loving everything that's going on that has happened. And Debbie, I want to say thank you to you and Juliana and everybody. It's been amazing to finally connect to this side of me that I rejected my whole childhood, my whole, yeah, childhood, teenage years. I rejected all of this because of what the church told me. And I hated myself for this side of me for such a long time. I was like, I'm bad. I'm like this bad witchy person. I'm evil. Like I let the what do you call it? The indoctrination, what they tell you in any Christian church. Like if you do this, you're bad.
Right. I think it's I I think there's a couple of things to this, right? I think number one, we are taught within the structure of Christianity, Catholicism. I was raised Lutheran, that you have to seek it outside of yourself. Everything is
Mm-hmm.
outside of you. It's not within you. And I don't mean it's within me like I'm all on my own doing it, because it's God within you. It is
Mm-hmm.
spirit within you. It is all of that is within you. And we're told we have to look outside of ourselves. We're told we have to go and seek it elsewhere. And like you said, there are people who go to church their whole lives,
Yes.
but they're going there not out of a sense of of maybe true connection. Maybe there's community, right? I think churches provide great community for people and a sense of belonging to something. But I think people go because it's their requirement. It's their, like, they have to check in. This is like they have to do to attain or get to where they need to be, right? So they're constantly seeking it outside of themselves, showing up, but not showing up for the right reasons necessarily. And I'll just share a little bit of my journey. Um, at 4 years old, I saw an angel in my room. I woke up in the middle of the night scared, and there was this energetic being. It is not like you see in these paintings with like wings and and human bodies, but it had kind of a human looking face, but it was just energy after that. Like, I think it comes, you read passages in the Bible and the angels say, do not be afraid, because I think it overwhelms or maybe scares people. But I felt such peace in that moment. And something really clicked for me at 4 years old of understanding that I was not alone. And I just knew it to be my guardian angel, right? And Jesus to me was so easily understood. He wrote beautiful he told parables. He told stories. He made it so digestible. He went against the leaders of the day that were having all of this rules, dogma, and all this peace that is perpetuated still today. And I would leave church and everybody would go get their coffee and get their donut. And then they would start gossiping and talking bad about other people. And I thought, you literally just walked out of church and now we're behaving this way. It just seemed quite hypocritical. Not that I walk this earth being perfect, not that I walk this earth and I'm blameless. And it's not, and that's the other piece. I'm not here to be perfect. I am not here to be blameless. I'm here to experience, right? I'm here to live in community. And I think it's funny when people try to say, oh, that's so witchy. And I really thought that term was such a negative annotation. And people now can call me a witch and I'm all, whatever. I got my crystals and my herbs. Sure, I'm a witch, I guess. I'm a
Yeah.
garden witch. I don't know. But you go to the church and they're like lighting candles. They have incense. They're chanting. Like, what do you? They're
Rituals.
all these rituals that are. It's like super witchy stuff. Like, if you would put that, you would use those same terminologies to like demonize somebody, right? And who were the witches? The witches were the women who were the healers. They were the women
Mhm.
who were the doulas, the midwives, right? These
Yeah.
are the women that they deemed witches. These are the women that they deemed that they were wrong or bad, and they were connected to nature and they knew what to do to take care of. And it just is very interesting to me. So for me, I grew up in the church and I loved church because I loved Jesus' message. I got unconditional love. I understood it. And then, of course, I studied world religions, and I love so many things that are part of Buddhism. And I've read the Quran and I've read the Bhagavad Gita, and I've studied all these religions. And what does it all boil down to? Is love and treating each other with kindness.
Hmm.
And to me, religion becomes divisive. And for me, it can be really, I mean, think about Ireland and what their beefs are. It was literally Protestants and Catholics fighting each other, like killing one another, and they believe in the same thing. Like this is like, I don't get it. I just don't get it, right? And
Hmm.
and I had a friend one time who was Catholic and said to me, Debbie, if you follow your Lutheran roots back, you were once Catholic. And I said to her, I said, if you follow your Catholic roots back to Jesus, he was Jewish. Like, she was trying to get me to
Yeah,
join
you
the
could keep
Catholic.
going backwards as far as you want.
Let's keep going. So I really have enjoyed TikTok as well because I've found a few really good Bible scholars because I have really read and studied the Bible. The Lutheran Church is so about biblical, biblical, biblical. But you also have to be very realistic. The Bible is not written by one author. And then they say, well, it's inspired by God, so it's really God's the author. But truly, it's different people at different points in history writing
Hmm.
down different things. And in even the accounts of Jesus' life, like there's discrepancies in what they wrote down, right? And there's parts that they kept and parts that they didn't. And even in creation, there's two creation stories in Genesis. If you really read it, you'll read the first creation story and then there's a second one. And you're like, and here's the thing, you mentioned something earlier. You said, well, I took a year off and I was taking care of my husband. And then we had this big move to Mexico. But it's just there because once you see something, you cannot unsee it.
Hmm.
Once you are aware, you cannot toss out the awareness. You cannot say, well, I don't know that. I'm going to pretend like I don't understand that. It's there. You already know it. And they say,
Yeah.
there's a saying, it's like riding a bicycle. I didn't ride a bike for maybe 10 years. And then my son got a bike one Christmas and I got on the bike and I got on it and I rode it. I had no problem. But learning to ride the bike, I needed the training wheels and it held me sturdy. And then, but I got on after not riding a bike for 10 years and I could ride a bike. So it's the same kind of thing. We have an awareness and a knowledge, and even if you take a break and step away and put other priorities, you still have that connection. And I understand and vibe with Jesus. Now, also never Catholic, and it's so funny. My husband was raised Catholic, and I said, he said, well, I didn't really pray to Mary that much. I guess I was always Lutheran and never knew it. And I never got the praying to Mary, but now I vibe with Mary so much.
Hmm.
Like, I love
And
Mother Mary.
I didn't either, even though I was raised like that. I mean, there's like when you're Catholic, there's prayers that are ingrained in you. You have to pray in a certain way, and it's repetitive all the time. But the Mary's energy, so this feminine, motherly, loving energy is what I always connected to, that energy of her essence.
Yes, I love that. And also, somebody was saying when you say the rosary, it becomes this repeated prayer, right? And you do it
Mhm.
again and you go through all the prayers. It is putting you in a meditative state.
Mhm.
And
Just
there,
like the Buddhists with the
yes,
prayer beads. So it's a
yes,
similar thing.
and so all these things happen. So for me, now I think I was always spiritual. I just was told to find it outside of myself. And the more I sought it within me, the more I was like, oh, yeah, it is within me. And now when they say, well, Jesus, you better, people will come in my life once in a while. I don't get a lot of negative people, but once in a while they're like, repent and be saved. Jesus is coming. And I'm like, Jesus is
Yeah.
here. He's already here. He didn't leave and we're all waiting for him to come back one day. He's here. He's within me. Like, I have complete connection to Jesus. Also, Jesus is a funny guy. He's kind of a funny guy. He's kind of got dad jokes. Um,
Yes.
and I've never vibed with Peter. I always thought Peter was so annoying in the Bible. And they're like, Peter, the first pope of the church. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm sure Jesus rolled his eyes more than once at Peter. Like, the Bible makes it sound so pious and sweet. But he's like, Peter, like, dude, you're going to deny me 3 times. Like, get over yourself, buddy. You don't think you're all that, right? And when they went to walk on water, when Jesus was the storm and Peter, he told Peter to step outside the boat. I fully believe that Jesus, as Peter walked, they say his faith kind of faltered and he sank. And I feel like Jesus was like, oh, just dunk him. Just, he's a pain. Just dunk him. And then he's like,
Like a
okay, I'll bring him.
practical joke. I know he's gonna fall.
Right. I feel like that's Jesus. He's like, let me just dunk him real quick. Oh, I'll get him back. It's okay. Um, but there is this connection I have now to finding it in everything, not just me, not just you being a divine being, but it's in the birds and the flowers and the trees and the
Mhm.
grass, in the wind, in the sun, in the rain. Like it's in everything. And we have made it become this edifice that you show up. And the other thing that bothered me always is saying, I am a poor, miserable sinner. So in Catholicism, you go to the confessional and you
Mhm.
confess your sins, and then you do so many Hail Marys, Our Fathers, whatever I guess the
No,
priest.
and every time you go to church, when the mass starts, you have to say that all the time, and you have to beat your chest three
Yeah,
times. I never liked saying that. I did not believe I was this horrible, miserable sinner.
right.
I mean, I would do it, but I wouldn't say the words because I did not believe that. I didn't want to say that about myself.
It's crazy because this is the mentality. It is teaching me that I am absolutely worthless and I better show up next Sunday and better just like be so darn grateful that I am saved by the blood of Jesus. And it's really kind of like just terrible to say this. And I
Hmm.
feel bad as a parent that I took my children to church and taught them that this is what we say and this is who we are. And I I don't believe in original sin. I don't believe that we're born into sin. Um, you know, I don't, that's just not, that's my belief. I don't believe that. And I go to church to hear my mom sing a couple of times a year. I'll go at Christmas and Easter. And, I love the music and I love to sing and I love some of those pieces. But when they do that confession, I'm a poor, miserable sinner. I justly deserve your present and eternal punishment. And I'm like, no. So when everybody's chanting that, I'm like, I am a divine child of God. I am a divine being and I am connected in every way. And there is nothing that separates me. I am him, he is me, I am her, she is me. And I say, I am her. And that's a whole nother conversation that I started last week with Cassandra, and we're going to do a whole series on the divine feminine within God. But yeah, I thought this is so toxic to teach people to say
Hmm.
this. It just is really unkind. It is just, and it makes you, it creates this thing that I'm just a piece of shit. I'm just this awful human being, and we're not,
Yeah.
and you're
And
not.
the way I felt was, how can you fully accept love and this g- great power of love and pure energy if you're in this um sad space? That's what it felt like to me. You're making yourself sad. So how can you receive the love? How can you receive this beautiful energy?
It's crazy. And when I look at all the things Jesus said and Jesus taught, and there were a lot more than 10 commandments before the 10 commandments. They had all these rules within the Torah, hundreds of rules. And then at one point, God's like, okay, let's just give them 10. And here's Moses. Moses is going to come down the mountain, and here are 10 commandments, which now I've heard have been mistranslated, but that's a whole nother story. So here are the 10 commandments. And then Jesus comes along and Jesus says, forget the law. He says, there is two commandments I give you: love God and love your neighbor as yourself, which is really, I always say, is a trick one, because there's two parts to the second one. And you have to love your neighbor as you love yourself. So for Jesus to tell me I am to love myself, but yet the church is telling me to say and chant out loud with the rest of the congregation that I'm awful does not, it doesn't match. It's not congruent, right? So for me, you know, I I understand what love is. Not love in a romance novel, not love in a rom-com movie, not love that is only attached to eroticism and attraction and sexuality, but I mean Jesus all encompassing love. All encompassing love. It is love that has no limit. It is love that has no requirement. Jesus says, he doesn't say love your neighbor as yourself if they believe the same thing as you, if they talk the same language as you, if they treat you kindly. If there's no ifs,
Yeah, no conditions.
there's no conditions. But yet the church wants to put conditions on everything. Who I love,
Yeah.
to judge others. My mom, my mom and I were driving home from a trip, and she was talking about one of the Lutheran churches by us that was part of the Evangelical Lutheran Church. So the Evangelical Lutheran Church, even though the word evangelical's in their name, you may think, oh, that must be the most conservative one. No, it's the most liberal. A friend of mine I went to high school with is a pastor. He is gay, he is married, he has a husband. They are LGBTQIA affirming, 100%. They are like, love is love is love is love, and they're okay with that. I vibe a little bit more with that version, right? But this group, I live in a very conservative county. They left the ELCA, the Evangelical, and became Missouri Synod, which is the church I was raised in. And my mom's like, I don't understand why they would do that, like why they had to change. And I said, I'll tell you right now, because they hate the gays. I said, Mom, there is no love like Christian hate. And I will guarantee you this is all about having female pastors and having gay people, because there's female pastors as well in that denomination. And she's like, well, what's wrong with the female pastor? And I said, people believe that you can't have that. And yet,
Yeah.
in the early church, there were women leaders. There was Phoebe and others. They're there. I never hear pastors talk about them a lot in preaching, but if you read it, they're in there. And Mary Magdalene very much was so prominent as a disciple of Jesus. And anyways, I think for me, I will go once in a while. I will hear my mother sing. I enjoy the music. Um, there are some songs I grew up on, but I feel a deeper connection spiritually to God, to creation, to earth, to everything around me. And even though, even though right
But
now,
you go out of respect. You still, you don't go into your mother's church and say, I hate this place, or I
right?
hate that you come here. You still go out of love and respect
Yes,
for your mother and what she believes.
absolutely. And I think for me too, I'm like you, very clairsentient. So I feel things. And my whole life, I could read a room. Now that's part of my childhood trauma, reading the room really well. But I could feel things. And I kind of denied that within myself. But I also healed myself at about age 5 or 6. I had warts on my thumb. My mother made fun of me. She said, because I sucked my thumb, that's why I had warts. And she shamed me. And so, Jesus just laid hands on people and prayed, and they were healed. So one night on a camping trip, we were out in nature, and I always felt so much more connected spiritually in nature, in the mountains, by a lake, at the beach, just in nature. Because I grew up in the city, nature just makes me feel more connected. But I went to go to bed that night. I put my hand over my thumb and I said a prayer, and I felt warm, but I'm like, I just want that healing to happen for me. And I woke up in the morning and the warts were gone. And I told my mom about it, and she said, that didn't happen like that. That,
No,
that just happened. Your prayers and Jesus, none of that happened that way. It just happened that they went away.
Oh
I'm
no.
like, what? So, so, and then I could always feel energy. I could, just like you said, like I could feel things. I could feel emotions. I could feel energy.
Hmm.
I could feel when people needed me, and I called them up and they're like, oh my God, I just needed a friend today. Like, and it started happening so much that it was like, it cannot just happen every single time I reach out that somebody's like, I was thinking of you today and how I needed to talk with you. And then my friend always called me her life coach. So when I learned about Reiki healing, I'm like, oh my gosh, like that Jesus was doing energy work healing. Like I get it. And like
Yeah.
connecting to that energy and sending that energy, I was like, oh my gosh, absolutely. And then I told Jules, I said, well, I kind of just feel things. I just kind of feel. But then it's like, oh, but I also kind of know things and I kind of hear things. And then
Wait,
it's
so
like,
she's the one that helped you open up and
yeah, she
get into
did. She
this?
really did. So one time we had a whole get together on a Zoom, and she was doing this, like putting us in a golden bubble with the rose and all this whole meditative thing. And then she said something about, I'm going to do this work on each one of you. And then she goes, except for you, Debbie. And I was like, and she's like, we already worked on this in the astral last night. I was like, okay. But it was weird because then I called her later and I'm like, I know this. And she's like, yeah, I
Wait,
know.
so that this what you just mentioned right now is still something that kind of gets me because I do stuff like I told you when I first came out on here. I've had this whole conversation like 3 times already before coming on here. The when you do stuff ahead of time or it just pops into your head or you're in meditation and you're already doing something that's planned or something just pops into your head and you do it or in a dream and stuff like that. That's still like mind blowing to me that that happens.
It really is. So for me, I I knew these things, but I feel like Jules was giving me the permission to like explore that even deeper. And I think I was limiting myself, right? Because the
Mm,
church told me everything is outside of
yeah.
me. And so I had to let go of these ideas that the world is telling me that I need like concrete evidence to be able to understand something, and I don't. There are things I don't see. I've never seen $1 million. I've never physically had $1 million in front of me, but I know $1 million exists. That's always a good example.
Mhm.
I talk a lot in parables. I think that's Jesus. I talk about the cake, you want the chocolate cake, but you don't ever add the
But I feel
chocolate.
like that's the best way to understand all of this. It's the only way. You can't
Yeah.
tangibly like I can't show people the little person that walks around my house, right? Even though my son has seen it, I have seen it, but I can't show this thing to people. Look, I know it's there. I've seen it with these two eyes right here, but I can't prove it to people. I feel it within me that I've seen it. I know I've seen it. My son is proof that I have seen it because he saw it. So
Yeah.
and
Like,
this
okay, I'm not
spiritual thing
crazy.
is something you can't like
Well,
give to
also,
people and be like, here, it's
here you
true.
go. Yeah. People need to experience things for themselves too. But I
Hmm.
think he helped me gain and then once you see it, you'll never unsee it. You won't
Yeah.
unsee it. So I have cameras in my home and I have a camera in my dining room. So when we leave, we turn the cameras on. And sometimes my mother-in-law's in her pajamas at 5 some days. So we have fed her dinner, we put on her Dodger game, and we run out for a quick dinner and put the cameras on. She's all settled, she's good. She's never gonna leave the house. She doesn't want to barely leave her room. So we'll go out and have a quick dinner date, down the street and come back. And twice now, only twice in 8 years, I've had orbs come up to the camera. And I posted it one time on TikTok and they're like, those are bugs. And I'm like, no, I've had moths that like
Mhm.
my husband brought home oatmeal and we had moths and it took like a month to eradicate moths from my kitchen and pantry. And so they would flitter
But
over.
it's a clear difference. When
Yeah,
it's a
they're like
bug, you
flittering
can't
like
see through
this.
it.
Yeah, they're flittering like this coming up to the camera, but these orbs, like 3 orbs came flying in and I've had it happen twice. I didn't post the second one, but it's like this is visually seeing energy. I also never thought, I thought, okay, I'm going to learn Reiki and I'm going to send energy. And then my early clients, I'm sending energy to people, and Maddie will let me share. Maddie's here in the room. The first time I did Reiki on Maddie, I knew nothing of her medical history. And I was like, I'm like, I have to trust. I have to trust what, and I was like, so one of your kidneys isn't isn't really working, like one's working better than the other. And she's like, uh-huh. Yeah. She's like, I have kidney issues.
But
And
could you feel it on your body? That's
yeah,
sort of how I
I
perceived it.
could, but I sometimes I feel things, but I
Hmm.
literally could see her kidneys, and like one was like not, it's crazy. I have literally done energy work on people, and I am physically seeing in their body swelling. I am seeing, sometimes I've done energy work. Britt's in the room. Britt's not going to care I share this, I know. Britt's like, yeah, go ahead. I'm doing Reiki on her, and I'm like, I'm having pain, like female reproductive pain. It's on this side. She's like, uh-huh, yep, yep. I felt somebody having like period cramps before. I don't have a uterus anymore. I have no uterus. I have no ovaries. And I'm all, I don't miss this. I don't miss that part at all. So I just never imagined when I started doing Reiki that I would
Hmm.
feel that. I've also worked on people, and I've done it where all of a sudden my visual field starts to gray out. And you know, like there's sepia tone and it's kind of like a
Hmm.
black and white, but golden. I'm seeing like a black and white with a blue tint. I don't know how else to describe it. And it
So
zones out.
I consider that it's like a focal point, right? It's like your spiritual, like your soul is trying to direct you.
Yeah. So it fades out. Sometimes I hear high pitched things, and I sometimes I hear an actual like word or sentence in my head, and it's not, it's my voice talking, but it's not my
It's
words.
outside of you.
It's outside of me. And sometimes I ask things to God, Jesus, Mary, whomever, and I get a clear answer. But I've actually had it where it grayed out, and I was like, it's like the veil thins out or something, and then I see things, hear things. One time I was working with a client, I saw her father, I saw what he was wearing. I described him from head to toe, what he had on. I described his office. I described his hat, and he would take his hat off and he would place it on his desk, where his desk sat in the room, everything I could see. It's not like I see, like I can see this room right now. I'm just seeing like a section of it. And it's
Hmm.
like, it's almost like a little GIF, like it kind of, it plays. And I'm like
Yeah, like
seeing,
flashes of it.
yeah, like I'm seeing like emotion. And I don't get that all the time, but I'm like, I'm like, he was coming through like with a very clear message. But first, I had, it kind of it had to prove to me and her that it was
Hmm.
him. And I was
Yeah,
like, this is not
because
something.
they find a way to identify, and it's always
Yes,
different because sometimes it's images like the flashes, or sometimes it's words or phrases,
yes.
or
Or a
sometimes
visual
it's
in my mind.
emotions. Hmm.
Yeah. And sometimes like it's an oracle card. But
Hmm.
like now when I do Reiki, I'm like, okay, Brit again, I'll use Brit. Like 2 months ago, I told Brit, I'm like, they're showing me a frog, right? And I'm working with guides. I'm working with Archangel Michael and Zadkiel, and my ancestors, my guides. And when I connect with somebody's energy and they open it up, sometimes their guides are like giving me information. Sometimes I'm just feeling it, whatever that may be. So I told her they're showing me a frog. Like I'm seeing a frog and I don't know what that means. And she's like, oh, well, I like frogs. And now, 2 months later, she put in a little pond, and there are frogs everywhere, in her house, in her garbage can, in her,
So that was
everywhere,
her sign.
everywhere. And this is interesting because I had somebody read for me on TikTok here like 3 years ago, and she read for me. She called me up. We did a Zoom, and she's like, all these people are coming forward, but my dad had died, my biological mother had died, my biological mother's husband had just died, my biological father had died. So I had, she's like, she was like, oh my gosh, like all these people are stepping forward. And I'm like, uh-huh. She's like, how many dads do you have? And I'm like, a few. I have my one who raised me, my biological mom's husband who I met. And at one point during this whole thing, she's like, there's a blue car. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. But I didn't get hung up on that. Like, I'm not like, oh, she's crazy. She told me there's a blue car. And 3 months later, my aunt, my biological aunt, who is the executor over my biological mother and her husband's estate, she's like, of course, you were not in their will or in their, they had a trust or whatever. She said, but John, who I met, I call him my stepdad, he, on his computer was an entire list of things he wanted to bequeath to you. And one of
Oh,
them is your mom's 66 VW Bug. So my husband and a friend drove up to Sacramento, loaded it on a flatbed, drove it home, pulled in my driveway. It's blue. 3 months later, there's a blue VW Bug in my driveway. And I'm like, and so right away I messaged her. I'm like, the blue car showed up because I'm like, nobody has a blue car. And then I'm like, well, my first car was blue. She's like, no, it's like, it's now like there's a blue car. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, whatever, like, no big deal.
mhm.
And so I just think we are so limited. Like, I don't question when you tell me, like, that you can see that I have a bottle of water, or that you can smell, like, you can smell a rose when I show you a rose, or that you can touch something and you're like, oh, that's like really rough. Or you can taste something and you're like, oh my gosh, that is very sour. I would never question your physical senses, but we question our all our other senses that we
Yeah.
feel are like witchy or weird, or that we don't feel like we are connected to anything. And I think part of that is that piece of everything is outside of us.
Hmm.
And as you open up and you see how you're connected to this earth, things will happen, synchronicities happen, signs happen, um, and it's it's an amazing journey of me opening up and not thinking I'm so small, I'm so limited, everything I need is outside of me. And it's like, yes, I have this brain, but I also have this gut. Why do we say, oh, I
Hmm.
had a gut feeling? Because that's where our solar plexus is. And that's also where we have this intuition and knowing. But it's so cut off. The world is like, unless it's concrete, unless you can see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, it's not real. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
Or when people say, I'll believe it when I see it.
correct. Right. And so much of it for me has been to realize that, especially with my father passing, is like, okay, so my father passed away, his body physically is gone, but he's still here with me. I have my whole setup here. I have a laptop and two screens. You're on my personal laptop, but I have two big screens for my work here. And my dad is a jokester and a prankster. And at my mom's house, he flicks the lights off and on, plays with the lights. And my mom goes, Donald Everett, stop it. And she had an electrician out, and he goes, ma'am, there's nothing wrong with this light. There's nothing wrong with it. And I'm like, Mom, it's Dad. And she's like, oh, I know it. And then the other day she heard, and see, my mom doesn't believe, she thinks she's just hearing things. She's like, I clearly heard my mom call my name. And I'm all, you should
It's like she believes, but she doesn't want to believe.
like, she doesn't like, right? And so, like, my dad literally will turn off these two screens, and I am like, Dad, I've got to get my job. Like, what do you need right now? Like, what am I not paying attention to? And
Hmm.
sometimes he wants me to know he's here with me, right? But he's that jokester. He's that complete jokester. I also think animals are super connected. I've
Hmm.
done Reiki healing on animals. I've had animals, like, you see a dog like tracking something and there's nothing in the room. I think they are physically able to see spirit and beings. And to think your loved one is completely gone, they are never gone from you, right? They are never gone from you. Now, they're not
No.
hanging out while you're in the shower washing your behind, and they're not with you when you're trying to go to the bathroom. Like, they're with you, but they're not obtrusively with you, right? But they are with
No,
you.
and we can connect with them. I explain that to a lot of people because when I see them come in, in readings and stuff, The way I understand it with my own relatives, since they're energetically connected, we can tap in with through them or to them, I guess, whenever we need them. We can still communicate. And I know a lot of people might not understand it because they haven't personally experienced it, but they're here. They're with us all the time.
They're with you all the time, available to you. You have no idea how many spirit, angels, energetic beings, um,
All
ancestors
kinds of beings I've
are
seen, which I did not understand
all kinds of beings.
until I saw them for myself. And I had to ask some people that I connected with, especially the first time it happened was like a Slenderman type creature. And it wasn't like scary like on YouTube, like those videos or whatnot. It was this really tall, skinny looking being in like a suit, not like a black suit, but like a sort of formal type suit. And I couldn't see his face because he was like really up there. So when I see other people's spirit guides and whatnot, my body's like next to them, so I can sort of tell height difference. I know I'm 5'3", so this thing was like 10 feet tall or something, like twice my height. And I asked the person, I had to describe it. Like I almost didn't want to describe it. I didn't want to sound crazy. I didn't want to say there's this really long looking
Really
thing
tall person.
right here. And they're like, oh, it's okay. That's yeah, he's one of my spirit guides. He's like a Slenderman type thing. They confirmed it for me what I was seeing, but I was scared to even say that this thing was there. Sometimes growing up in this religion that tells you there's like angels and there's saints and there's God and there's just this, right? You rule out everything else that is out there. I've seen all kinds of stuff through meditation and through other people and connecting, even, through cards or whatnot. I've seen all kinds of creatures, which is nuts. It just expands your spiritual horizon, your vision. I
Right.
just think that's crazy.
And I know we've talked a lot, and we can do more conversations on this. But I wanted to also say, I watched probably 20 years ago, like prime time 2020, did an entire show on people who had passed and then came back. Right? They had like the
Oh
near
yeah.
death experience, and they all said it was dark, and they went into light. And when they all arrived in heaven or the other side, many, 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 so many had the same experience. They said it was very lush, very beautiful, and there were more colors, and they don't know how to explain them because we don't have words. We don't have words for these other colors. And so they brought this scientist in to say, what do you have to say about these people saying there's more colors? And he's like, we know there's more colors. We know that there's this entire spectrum of color, and we visually can see this part of the spectrum, but there's all of this part that our eyes are not, but we know it exists.
Hmm.
It's there. We know the spectrum goes from here to here, but we can't see these
We
sections of
see
it.
this much.
Yes. And so then, like, the reporter was like, kind of like, oh, like there is more colors. And again, just because you haven't seen something doesn't mean it's not real. And the more we open up and we're curious and aware, the more that you connect to you. When I say every morning, you are a divine creation, you are. And the world may have told you you're terrible, and you may have gone to church every Sunday and said, I'm a poor, miserable sinner. And I speak that no more. I am a divine creation. I will say it every day, every day, every day. But then I also see that in you, and I see that in all of you, and I see that in nature, and the beauty of, like, there are some amazing sunsets after a storm or whatever. It's
Hmm.
just all of that is within me and you.
And it's because you've switched your focus, is what I believe. When
Yes.
you change from being a pessimist, right? You see all the negativity and you're only going to see more bad things. But if you see love everywhere, if you see the beauty in nature, if you see nothing but beautiful things, even though bad things happen, right? It's life. Bad things happen. But if you focus on the beauty and the joy and the love, good things come to you. Good things come your way. I experienced this in our move. We've had nothing but good luck the whole time we arrived. And I think that's because my focus is on joy and love and moving forward, and nothing but good things have happened along the way.
And I say that too. I say to God, creator, source, show me how it gets better. So when we
Yes, I
step
love
into
that.
gratitude, right? When you start with gratitude and you're grateful every day, it just happens. There's more things to be grateful for. And when you anticipate that and when you experience joy and you say it's going to be joyful, it falls right into place. And I know it
Yes,
sounds so cliche, like, you're just thinking everything's good. And it happens. It,
it does.
it's a shift in your mind, but it's because you have opened your perspective in a new way. I
It
think,
does something to your whole universe, your environment. So the energy you're putting out when you change your whole mindset attracts the same energy.
yes, it's like the law of attraction.
Hmm.
And this is also, and maybe we can have another conversation about the power of our words and how we use our words. And TikTok's going to be like, here's how you manifest. You're going to write this 3 times and do this and light a candle. It's really your mindset. It
All
is
in here.
this. This is such a powerful tool. And what is your mindset? What's your mindset on money? What's your mindset? Because you can have a lack
Hmm.
mindset or a growth mindset in every part. Lack of food, lack of shelter, lack of whatever, fear, 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 fear. And when we speak things out and we put them in that space and place of like, okay, here I am. And I, in your case, we're going to move to Mexico. We have a
Hmm.
lot of pieces figured out because we've been thinking about this for a few years and we know where we want our son to go to school. So we know the neighborhood we want to go. But I don't have all the answers, but
Nope.
that's okay because I have faith. I still have faith, right?
That's basically the only thing made our decision on
Is the
was
school,
our good faith.
the neighborhood.
Because it's scary. Even within the states, because I've moved from Illinois to New Jersey and back. I moved to Chicago and closer to where my sisters lived. Any move is scary, any type of move. And then just moving to a different country is even scarier. But it's the mindset. Your mindset is what's going to lead the way. So we just trusted. We trusted that we were choosing um, the right direction, right, for our family to be closer to my parents. We were choosing with that faith that everything was going to work out, and stuff worked out way better, way better than we imagined. But we left that door open, right, to welcome in the the good fortune and hoping everything was just going to work itself out because we did not have everything worked out when we moved. We packed up. So I'm I'm still like just baffled by how everything we mentioned, right? On TikTok, on videos, like just do it, manifest, change your mindset, do this and that. And then when you actually do it and stuff actually happens, it I'm still mind blown, even though, it's amazing.
There's magic everywhere. We just discount it. We just don't acknowledge it.
Mhm. I think
Miracles
we
happen
just have to be open to it,
open.
right? Open to the possibilities, open to receiving.
Yes. Open to the possibilities. As I tell people, be curious.
Mhm.
Be curious. And your spirituality is yours. Like mine doesn't have to match yours, doesn't have to match anybody's.
Yeah,
It is
everybody's
your
completely
personal
different.
experience. There's nobody telling you, well, here's the rules and here's how you have to do it. There's nobody gatekeeping your connection to you. There's no gatekeepers with that. None. It's yours. It's yours to
There's
live.
no right or wrong.
There isn't. There isn't. And I think some people, that's kind of hard. They like structure and rules. It makes them
Yeah,
feel safe.
because that's how we're brought up, right?
Yeah.
All these rules in school, in church, there's rules. And if you detour, then you're bad.
Anybody have questions or want to share their experience or have anything to ask of either Luz or myself?
Could I share something real quick?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
because I've been looking at Britt's view with the
Time
tree and
keeps
the
coming
light
to the
coming through the
trees.
back.
I know.
So when I meditate, that's almost exactly what I see. So the light I connect to, so that when I meditate, it's almost as if I'm that tree, right? The tree she's got back there. I don't know why when I meditate, I have to pretend I'm a tree. Maybe I was a tree back, some long time ago, but I am the tree. And then God is the bright light above all the branches that I pull in down through me and towards me. It's almost like exactly what that looks like. As I
I
was
think
looking at it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I see when I meditate.
so. When I do Reiki, I'm a tree. I am a
Oh,
tree. My body is the trunk. And if you
hmm
see me, sometimes when I first connect, I will put this hand up, and this is my branches reaching out to God,
hmm
creator, source, energy. And one hand I put down, roots going into Gaia,
hmm
because the earth carries that energy too. And it's like
Yeah.
I
Yeah. You have to
pull,
make the connection with our upper sky,
yes.
universe, everything, and connect to the earth to ground.
So I pull the energy up from earth and pull it down, and I
Fully
alchemize
connect.
in my heart chakra, and that's how I do it. Now, that's I don't tell people that's how
Yeah, I
you.
do it like that.
Right, when I teach Reiki, I am so profound to know it's each going to be everybody's own experience. Some people want to start at the root chakra when they're working on somebody. I
hmm
always start at the crown. I want to open the crown, pull the energy in, and I start at the crown and move my way down. Now,
hmm
some people, the second I get to them, I get to the crown and they're real floaty out there. And I'm like, oh, I got to ground you first. Well, I got to ground you. You're going to float away. I got to get you grounded. Where are you going? But yeah, so the tree is very, very important to me. My mother's ashes are, I have a little vial of her ashes, my biomom, and it's on a necklace that has a tree of life that her husband gave me. But I've always loved the tree of life. And I find it just as like this universal symbol for me. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's an oak tree. To me, it's always an oak tree. I'm an oak tree, but
Same for me. Because the wider the branches, it's like
yep,
antennas.
yep.
Like the branches are antennas. So the further out they can reach, the more you receive. I had to mention that because that was really cool.
I was really watching that light coming through. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask, anything they want to share, even if it's their own experience of something that happened to you and you're like, I've kind of maybe not the willow too. I do love a willow tree too. The way the branches hang down and sway, like the willow tree to me is like grandmother willow. That's like grandmother energy. And I know that's all Pocahontas, but it before Pocahontas, the movie came out, that was grandma energy to me. And it was probably to the animators. And that's why grandmother willow was created, right? Um,
hmm
Trisha, you have to go. Okay, thank you, Trisha. Have a good rest of your day. We're about to jump off. I just want to make sure that we give everybody an opportunity to share if they have a question. Thanks, Trisha. Any questions?
One day I'd love to pick your brain about trees and their different personalities. Because I didn't know you could talk to trees. So actively started having conversations with the tree people.
Yeah, there. First of all, fairies are real. Fairies are real for sure. And Brit's all shaking her head. Yes, she's
There's
like
like so
100%
many other like beings on the other side of the veil. I
right.
mean, when I first started doing, because when I first started doing cards, the only way I can do it because it's intuitive for me. I don't know how to actually read tarot or actually read cards, like memorizing what they mean or anything. Mine is just that when I shuffle cards, I connect to people, but to their energy, and then creatures and people and things pop through for them. So I've seen rabbits, I've seen all kinds of creatures. I've through meditation, I've met this blue alien woman. And there's just like I can't rule anything out at this point to say like somebody tells me they've seen something, describe something weird that I've never seen. I can't say they haven't seen it. I
Right.
will never say, no, you're lying because they're probably not.
Exactly. I would never question it either. Well, if nobody has any questions, we'll
I
finish
think
this.
there was one. Let me see the chat. Oh no, it was about the willow.
We can have more conversations. I I think we could talk a lot about cards as a divination tool. We can have a whole conversation on that. We have
Yes.
a ton of oracle decks. Some people prefer tarot. Tarot has a set message. There's
Hmm.
oracle decks, and I like cards, and I'll pull cards sometimes to get a message. And it's the visual pieces to that, right? And I know I pull a
Hmm.
card every morning in my morning live, like a card of the day, and we started with self-care, and we did gratitude, and we did some garden ones. But like I get messages through visual things, through music. The day of my mother's surgery for her breast cancer surgery, we get in the car and the first song that came on is You Are Not Alone by Michael Jackson. And I'm like, oh, that's dad. Dad's here. He's just like reminding me, right? So
He's
they
joining you.
he was joining us. So there's always music, like sound, visual, all these
Hmm.
ways that I'm open to receive messages. So I think that would be a fun conversation to have is how
Yeah.
cards do that. And it can be anything. Some people, use tea leaves and whatever, I've never used tea leaves or been called to use tea leaves, but I don't discount that that's how people get messages. It is just, it's not
Yeah.
like I'm
Everybody has
having,
their method or tool.
right, like I don't sit here and have conversations with my father and he's talking in full sentences, right? I don't have those kind of things. It's more like they give me an image or a smell or, you know a little visual, like it's a little
Hmm.
like a little video that's on like a little loop. And so these are the ways that I receive messages, and I'm open to that. And I think we've had them our whole life, but we're not paying attention. I think
When we
sometimes,
closed it off, we
yes,
ignored it. We took that, on the back burner. Like we're not going to pay attention to all these emotions or things coming at us. That's what I did my whole life.
right. And then I feel like that our guides, when we finally open up, our guides, angels, spiritual, whatever ancestors are like,
Hmm.
oh, thank God. Because all these years
They
they're
just
like
throw
kicking rocks
stuff
trying
at
to get our
you. I
attention.
feel like that's what happened my first year. It was every single day for months, even in my dreams, day and night, training. Like that's what I call it, training, because that's the only thing I could think of that my guides were showing me in dreams how to detach myself from emotions that I was picking up from other people. They were showing me how to detach these little goblins that would attach at the back of my head. Like they were just like, okay, you're open now. Here you go. Throwing everything at me.
Right. And I realized that I had really protected myself from energy, and because I could get overwhelmed by feeling other people's energy. But there was
Hmm.
something about children that it's like I'm open to children. And then I would go to Disneyland, and at like 3 o'clock, all the kids are crying and tired and need a nap. And all of a sudden, I'm feeling like, I'm like, can you hear that? Like, I feel like I can hear 500 children right now in my ear, like crying. And then I remember, oh, I'm open to children. So then I'm like, I have to like tell my guides, like, we need to
Close it off for a little bit.
closing all of that off. I just need to be in my little bubble. I just need to be in my little bubble. Yeah.
Yes. And this is the cool part, Juliana, and you taught me you're fully in control. So now I know through practice how to close things off or detach. So when we went to the downtown to the cathedral, the emotions, because when people go to a church or to this massive like cathedral, what I felt walking in was tears, people's sadness and outpouring of emotions, and it was really overwhelming. So I remembered, okay, this is not mine. Detached. So in one of my dreams, my guides taught me to pull like golden light that comes out of your heart. So that's where all your emotions sort of sit, to grab it and pull it out and have it in front of you. So not within you. You take that and you put it right here so you can still feel it, but you're not going to start crying like in the middle of, this place. You'll still be able to feel it, feel them, but it's not going to make you overly emotional. So I had to learn to do that. And I'm glad I did, because otherwise I would I would have definitely started crying.
I know, I know. Well, Anita said she would love that. And she said she was the same. She hid it as well. Yeah, absolutely. We do. We hide it. We act like it's not real. We act like, oh, it just happened. That's not, we don't give it any credibility. And the second you
Mhm.
open up to that, it's amazing. So thank you, Luz. I really appreciated this time with you. Thank you for taking the time. I'm traveling a lot in September, but can we schedule a time maybe in October
Yeah,
and we'll have
yeah.
a
And if
talking?
anybody, I'm always open to, messaging, or anybody has a question or anything. I always try to answer, especially on Facebook and TikTok, anywhere. If
Well,
anybody
I
ever
will.
has a question or wants to reach out or anything.
I'll tag her. I will tag her when I post this replay. I'll download the video and I'll post it to the Thin Line. I will tag her so if you need to find her on there.
Hmm.
Also, just as a side note, she's really a great singer. She's very creative. She can make and create anything you desire. She's a graphic arts guru. She's fantastic. Fantastic. Like if you want to build something on your website, she'll help you build something
Hmm.
on your website, like the graphics and whatever. And she helped Juliana with her website. She's helped us with other pieces and things. She's amazing. So very, very talented, makes the most beautiful stuff. And is a beautiful human being, period.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you so
So
much. Thank you for being here.
thank you. Thank you for letting me share and not ramble too much, because I tend to do that. There's so much to share. There's so much to
There
talk about,
is.
and there is not enough time in the
There's
world.
not. There's not enough, but we will talk more, and I think we'll focus on the ways we can receive messages. We'll go into a deeper dive on that next time, and we'll talk about cards and
Oh, yes,
I
fun.
started with one deck of cards, and I may have, I don't know, 70 now.
Oh,
I'm not joking.
that's the only thing I managed to bring with me. All of them. I might not have brought all of my books, but one luggage, half of it is crystals and card decks.
I see Britt's son. All right. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, Luz. Have a good day.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.